Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I'm Hanyo, your Demon's File, and we're back for more Mayfair Witches. So we're back with Mayfair Witches, Season 2, Episode 3, Cover the Mirrors. A short review? So much happens, and also nothing happens. That is the best way to describe this episode. It's like, it feels like we made no progress in the story, but technically we did. Is that weird to say? The episode picks off right after the end of last episode, and we get probably the most interesting thing we saw in the trailer. Sure, while walking around in the middle of the night in this park, he meets, did they actually give this character a name? I don't think they did. We meet the fledgling vampire that Lestat was with at the end of season 2, Interview the Vampire, and he felt a little different to me. I don't know, because in the last episode, Interview the Vampire, he felt very annoyed and just annoyed. Like, he felt like very like a tired individual. Like, he was tired of this and that. I don't know, maybe his life got a little bit better after leaving Lestat. And he confirms that Lasher smells different than humans, and that Lasher is probably something new, and the rules of the world don't apply to him. And Lasher is talking about he's regaining more of his memories when he was first alive, that he remembers he was probably a priest. He remembers praying in his church. Now, that is book accurate. Lasher was a priest. Was he a priest? Yeah, he was a priest at before he became a spirit. So we're keeping Lasher's backstory mostly intact. So kudos for the writers not changing things for no reason. Let's see how long it takes them to fudge that up. But what I am very mixed on is that the fledgling vampire, he goes on to state that he's given a vice he was given from Lestat, saying that it's in our nature to cur the horde. It is in our nature to something. It's in nature to kill. It's Darwinism. And I know I'm butchering the line, but well, I kind of like this because one, we're getting a reference to Lestat. He's my favorite character of this franchise. Two, I kind of like this actor. I'm not sure about the character, but I kind of like the actors. Like, okay, I like this interaction, with Lasher. And what I don't really like is that Lasher kind of takes this advice, and we see him becoming a much more aggressive character in a scene later. And we didn't really need that because Lasher's been having a pretty awful life, being feared by Rowan, trying to kill him. All his partners dying after they done the deed, and just a very fearful and scared individual driven purely on sex. So you can feel like Lasher will probably makes this journey all by himself. No, that's just me. Also, I don't know, maybe if the vampire character, the fledgling, stayed throughout the episode and been, it was like Lasher's murder senpai, which would be a very, very, a very big change from the books, which I normally rally against. But I wouldn't mind in this case because, like I said, I thought those two have fun little chemistry for like the 3 minutes they're on screen together. But we're moving away from Lasher. We're going back to Rowan. Rowan, with the help of Cortland, are going to throw a party at the main house, saying that there's a curse coming to the family. So we're going to make this like potion spell, this protection spell, where we're all going to drink and cast it for everybody. And Rowan is definitely not trusting Cortland. Jean ain't trusting Cortland. Josephine ain't trusting Cortland, which I kinda like that. I like this progression. And as the episode goes on, we can see all the Mayfairs like coming together, and we're meeting new members of the family. Some that are book accurate, which wow, finally. But again, not really fully book accurate. I'll get to that in a second. This is what happens when I don't write notes. On the Talamasca side, we're making some progress. We learned that there's Talamasca agents at the police force, which, hey, it's kind of cool. It's also doing this thing with the Talamasca, which, yes, they were this big organization in the novels, but like I kind of said, I think my other video, or no, it's not out yet, the Talamasca was mostly, at least mostly just weird nerds. Like, they were rich and powerful, but as far as I can remember, unless there's something missing from one of the books I haven't read, that the Talamasca they didn't like have secret agents that police government. And it kind of just makes the stakes a little bit more interesting. So it's not that big of a deal, but I don't know, I thought it was a weird little thing. But Moira, Cyprian, and the whatever his name is, Albert, come up with a plan to join. Well, Moira's gonna join Rowan's party, while the Talamasca people get ready to take Lasher. And Cyprian is not liking this. He's feeling disrespected that he's not given all the information because he's now part of this story. That I grew up here, and I used to see this house every day when coming and going. I used to see Lasher up in the windows. Why are you trying to make this character more like Michael? Yeah, this is everything like Michael would say. This is all Michael's backstory from the books. But this character feels nothing like Michael. And for all this talk of I knew Lasher, like I saw him when I was a kid, it doesn't. He's talking about it, but doesn't feel like this is very important. I don't know, you can say that. Because we never get a good flashback of this. We never see him looking up to the Mayfairs, like, oh yeah, they're kind of like royalty. I don't know, just, it's a detail that's important, but whenever it's brought up, it doesn't feel important. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. But yeah, at the grand party, everything is getting kind of weird because all the family members want to meet Lasher. He's basically their god, and they're like, where's Lasher? We know he's been born into the world. We want to meet him. And everyone's like, well, he's not here right now, but he'll be back. Then she has this weird, not weird, it was actually a pretty good scene, conversation with Moira. And once again, the actress who's playing Moira, which, you know what? I don't remember. I never looked up her name. Alyssa Giros? No, she was in the Mick. That's the only thing on her list that I've actually watched. But yeah, I'm liking her. Like, as all the actors all the actors on the show, for some reason she's actually selling it for me. Most of the other characters, you know, I had issues with their performance. I have issues with how they're being directed, with how they're being written, but Moira always makes sense. I'm not sure why. Maybe I think it's the actress. She's the only one killing it this season. Nobody killed it the first season. But yeah, she and Rowan had this conversation where, yeah, Rowan says she is going to kill Lasher, kind of like how she promised to Millie at the beginning of the episode. And Moira doesn't fully trust her. And we can see this throughout the episode. Rowan is very conflicted. She is drunk off all the powers Lasher gives her, and like we saw before, whenever Lasher is too far away, those powers get weaker or they full on disappear. And she's feeling a bit of a goddess. She wants to keep with those powers. It just wish we see her use those powers to do something more interesting. Like half the time when she's using them, she's just turning the lights on and off. Like, because in the first episode, we see her healing a sick child during her, I think it was brain cancer. And while the whole thing with Rowan being being a neurosurgeon was important in the book, it doesn't fully come back. I wouldn't mind they change that to have Rowan keep going to the hospital and like healing people, wanting to save people. I mean, we have to stretch the season out longer for him to actually do that storyline. But I just would rather we see her use those powers for more interesting things than simple parlor tricks. And then we can feel a bit more about her tether to them. Because in the novel, Rowan, she was drunk off the symbiotic relationship she had with Lasher. He made her power stronger, and she made him stronger, kind of like vice versa. But she was also very interested in what he was, who he was, how to study him. In the end of the first novel, she ran off with Lasher after he was born, mostly because she wanted to see what he was. What did she give birth to? Is he human? Is he something bit more? And we do get taste of that in the first episode, but now from this last episode and this episode, her main concern is wanting to keep the powers and nothing really else. Her wanting these powers versus how to protect the family. Not that change, but it's different from the source. As the episode goes on, we are introduced to a new member of the family who is Dolly Jean's sister. She is running, or at least working at a bar, that Lasher walks into, asks for 2 large glasses of milk, and when everybody leaves, Lasher locks the door and attempts to force himself on her, which is very similar to the book. Lasher would take no for an answer, I guess you could say. But her and her son, they managed to fight him off. They did a pretty good amount of damage. I think gets hit in the head with a bat, gets stabbed, gets shanked a couple times with a broken bottle. He's like, it's hurting him, but it ain't killing. Now, this is a big change from what we've seen from Lasher so far. Like, it does work we're going for book accurate Lasher. For the show, though, this is to show what his conversation with the vampire early, that he's trying to take it to heart that since he is a superior being, he should be able to take whatever he wants. And it doesn't fit with his nature. And I kind of like the idea of Lasher taking this as bad advice, but I also think it would be more appropriate, better, more interesting if Lasher came to this delusion on his own. That Rowan will not accept him, the rest of the the whole Mayfairs are hunting him. He doesn't know what he is, so he is just going to turn off he's just going to act like a savage animal and just follow his instincts and give into his worst tendencies. I think it'd be much more satisfying if you see Lasher becoming this way because of Rowan fearing him and her trying to kill him. His first technical kills were a complete accident. But yeah, the revelation of this person, I wish I could remember her name. They said like twice, but it's not computing in the brain. Jolly Jean's sister. They do mention that she would have come to the party, but she realized, or I guess sensed, that Cortland was there and JoJo. Was that just JoJo? Or was it? It was one of them. She hints that Cortland may have been with her, or maybe even worse, which wouldn't surprise me, is Cortland, and it's the Mayfair witches. I hope this character comes back because that feels like very big bombs to drop off and it doesn't come back. You know what I mean? We could have Lasher just attacking a Mayfair while they're coming to the party. But then again, I guess it kind of works for this redemption, or maybe redemption they're going for Cortland, that he has to suffer for all the horrible things he's done. And I do really love the small little argument he has with JoJo. And she's telling him off, and she mentions that when she came out to Cortland as being trans, and that he loved her, he accepted her, he just wanted her to be her truest self. And then she gets a little revolted because, why he only say that? Because he wanted a daughter. Because how Cortland treats the women in the family. I love Harry Hamlin and who plays JoJo? I have the list right here of names. Jen Richards? Yeah, I do. I love the little reaction they have there because they sell the pain, they sell the hurt, and Cortland's desperation to wanting to get out of there. And I also forgot they did have this minor scene where Cortland tries to call up the Talmasca guy, and he's like, "Oh, we don't talk to him. He's a dead agent." Just hangs up the phone. I don't know why I thought that was kind of funny. It was kind of useless because I absolutely forgot that those two characters had a connection, and that's me after editing several hours of the season 1 review. Just so much I don't care, and it wasn't necessary to have that because now it seems like it's going nowhere. But yeah, Rowan finally announces that Alicia and Gifford and Lucy, we meet Lucy's father, that they were killed by Lasher, and that she brought them all here to protect them. That Lasher is an abuser who's been using their family for centuries, and I love that. I love this being brought up. But also another I almost want to say annoying alteration from the novel. We finally meet Ryan Mayfair, and this is the weird thing. Okay, so in the novels, Cortland had his son named Pierce, and then Pierce had his own child, which was Ryan Mayfair. And Ryan Mayfair, he married Gifford. Cortland had Pierce, who then had Ryan. But in the show, Cortland had JoJo and apparently no other children. And when Cortland greets Ryan here, he doesn't greet him as his grandchild because the ages. Not the pertinent ages probably work, but he doesn't greet him like, "Oh, that's my grandson." He kind of greets him like a random cousin, which is them changing the whole Mayfair tree. They could easily had Ryan in season 1, had him be JoJo's brother or something like that. I mean, here Ryan is just some random guy who was Gifford's husband, which kind of sucks because Ryan had honestly he had big parts in the book, but he was like a recurring character that you got to know pretty well. Here he's just like throwing like, hey, here's Ryan for any book fans. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, book fans? What? You're getting mad that Ryan doesn't have a more semi-important role? You're just mad that he's just here because, oh, we need him because we killed Gifford? Oh, why are you getting upset? Why are you getting upset, book fans? Why are you getting so upset? I don't know. But yeah, what was her name? Mora's little sister. She overhears that Lasher killed them, and because earlier Rowan said, "Oh, they just died of organ injuries," which technically is true. But she feels lied to. She feels betrayed, so she runs. She runs to the front door. Joseph tries to stop her, but when they open the door, they are put into a thrall, as Rowan called it. Because last season was episode 4. It was the thrall. It was when Lasher locked Rowan, Cyprian, and Carlotta in the house in this weird dream state. And I kind of, I like the the callback. So, yeah, this happened, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. It also feels a little bit unnecessary because we're using to build up stakes for the next episode. But here it looks kind of weird. Like, they open the door, they turn to, they kind of, ghost out and disappear. Which, why are they disappearing? That part I don't get. Maybe they'll spend in the next episode. But in season 1, the thrall just seemed to be them in the house. The house didn't really put them in a pocket dimension. They were just locked in the house. Lasher could control certain parts of the house, make things seem more real than they were, but it didn't seem like they were in a pocket dimension. So, adding new rules, I'm guessing? I don't know. But Rowan can't undo it right away because Lasher is here, and she goes out to meet him outside. They have this weird little standoff. It's a Western. Moira and the Mayfairers behind her are encouraging Rowan to kill Lasher. To do it, kill him. And Lasher's calling her, "Mother, please help me. Don't kill me." And before she could do anything, Cyprian comes in with this little spray, the little purple mess. And I can't tell if he was trying to attack Lasher, because Rowan jumps right up in front of him before he could spray Lasher. But her and Lasher were still a good foot apart, and the mist doesn't travel that far. And he already sprayed it as Rowan comes in front of it. So, why did he spray it? Was he trying to knock Rowan out? The look in his face didn't seem so, but he knows that it's not going to spray all over there and knock Lasher out. He's been attacked with it before. It's not a gun, it's a misspray. I'm hating these decisions more and more. But whatever. Rowan collapses. She's feeling sick and woozy. She got a magical roofie. Probably shouldn't say that. But she's laying on the ground. She can't do anything. Her vision's going in and out. Moira and Cyprian looking at her all disappointed as these Talamasca members basically kidnap Lasher, and they're gonna bring him back to either Ireland or where's the main Talamasca house? Amsterdam. One of those two, I'm gonna guess. And okay, so the whole episode is, like I said before, a lot of happened, but it also feels like nothing happened because it all takes place in the same on one night, and on one night at the same episode as on the same night as episode 2. I'm trying to say, I feel like we should have a more of a wait for Alicia and Gifford, because those characters are just coming and going. They're not getting any real respect, I guess you could say. I mean, Alicia, we had some good character development for her from last season. I'm gonna give her like a good long introduction to who she was, her life, and everything in the book. And of course, you can get away with that in the book, but I don't know. I think there should be a little bit more emphasis on that she died. I mean, we get to meet her husband here, but he's a throwaway character. Ryan's just a throwaway character. He only has like 2 speaking moments at best, 3 maybe. And then we had the whole thing with Lasher and the vampire, which I'm still mixed on that, but if they're really going to do that, steal from Interview with a Vampire, a character for Interview with a Vampire, have them stick around for a little bit, have him make an impact. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would have probably done. And you got the whole thing with the Telemasca, which I don't fully like, but I like it a little bit more here. It was more organized. You can really tell like they are a strong organization in this episode. Other episodes, you don't really get that feeling, I guess you could say. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Jack Hudson, I am still really loving his performance as Lasher in this season. Once again, very different from the book, but he's making it work, and he's selling it so much better than anything in season 1. Season 1, he was just a dumb, generic villain. Here, though, yeah, he has that, I guess we were running for a complexion. You know, he's a scattered character. His mind and spirit are all mixed and jumbled. He's running on these strong animalistic instincts, particularly sex, and he doesn't know what he is or who he is, which is what Lasher was like in the book. But in the novel, he was much more a violent and nasty, rapey individual. Here, though, those aspects have been turned down. I like to see what Hudson would have been like if he played a novel like Lasher, but he's making it work. Alexander Daddario is still a mixed bag. Like I said, I think she's still a lot better this season than last season. But little things like when she jumps in front of the gun, it just feels... Something about it feels too silly. Maybe because it's a purple fucking mist. And also the part where the family kind of corners her because they want to know about Lasher, and she's being real timid, which I don't know, doesn't feel like, because the character in the show is supposed to be a neurosurgeon. She's supposed to be very smart. She had to deal with people all day, but when the family members are gathering in on her, she gets a little closed off. And it's also really different because the novel, Rowan is a very I say confident person to an extent. She's very confident when it comes to work, but also very isolated and introverted when it comes to personal things. I feel like the character from the book would have handled this situation a little bit better. And we got our boy Cyprian, our last member. And like I said, Tungai. I'm gonna learn how to pronounce his name. The actor who plays Cyprian is good for what he has. He is making all his action is really great. It's just I still hate how the character is written. If this character was anything closer to one of the book characters, or maybe just like an original character, it was written better, I will love everything he does. But because he's giving it all for this awful script. He's getting it all for this awful script. That's the best way to say it. Next episode, we seen that Rowan is losing her powers. Something's gonna happen with Sip and Lasher. I'm guessing they're gonna go out of the country. That's what it feels like. That's what they're setting up. But yeah, Mayfair Witches. Season 2, episode 3. It was interesting, but also boring at the same time. I'm logging out. I have better things to do than talk about this show. But thank you all for listening to my horrible rant. Me just being depressed that I sat down to talk about this because I had to watch the episode twice for it to evoke any kind of emotion in me. I don't know. I think I'm really Mayfaired out. Constantly I do stop and go to that one epic video I'm doing, having to watch the episode twice before I sit down to record. I am Mayfaired out. It'd be different if it was like Interview with the Vampire or a show that I really love, because this show is awful. I'm not sure. Awful's a bad word. Show's not that interesting, not that perfect. It's starting to take a bit off my soul. But But yeah, I'll sit down for when episode 4 comes out because I'm gonna stick with this and I'm gonna hope the show gets better, which it probably won't. Alright, I gotta go and cut out some bits. So I will see you all in the next video or stream, wherever you decide to turn into. Till then, I am Hanyo, you're the Monocinophile, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.